My dear, last night my dad called just to speak your name with both love and pain. His voice trembled with memories only your shadow could awaken in his silence. You haunt his words like a ghost dancing between regret and hope. Every syllable he spoke carried the weight of 1,000 unsaid apologies. The call was a bridge built from years of silence and broken dreams. In that moment, you were more than a memory. You were the quiet ache in his heart. He didn't ask for forgiveness, only for understanding that time could never heal. Sometimes love lingers like a wound no one dares to touch, but everyone feels. The way he said your name felt like a prayer and a curse intertwined. We carry the people who left us in the spaces between our breaths. That call wasn't about you, it was about the father he lost inside himself. The silence after his last word was louder than all the years apart. Blood ties bind more than hearts. They tether souls to wounds never fully closed. You live in his eyes even when he tries not to see. Sometimes the past calls to remind us who we really are beneath the scars. He spoke to you through shadows, hoping you'd hear the truth in the quiet. A father's love is messy, broken, and still fiercely alive beneath regret's weight. You're a ghost in his heart he never wanted to chase, but never could forget. The ache of lost time clings tighter than the hope of reunion. We are the echoes of those who once called us home. Last night, he called the name you wear like a prayer and a wound. Love is sometimes a phone call wrapped in trembling silence and trembling hands. Even distance cannot silence the voice of a heart that remembers. His words fell like autumn leaves, beautiful, brittle, and full of farewell. Sometimes the hardest conversations happen in the quiet between a call's start and end. You are the shadow that stretches across his regrets and dreams. To call someone is to risk reopening a wound, hoping it might heal. The call was a confession no tongue dared to say before. Between the lines of his speech, you heard the love he couldn't hold. Fathers carry their children inside, even when the world says they've lost them. The heart remembers what the mind tries desperately to forget. That call was a bridge over an ocean of unsaid love. Some voices never fade. They echo in our bones forever. You are both the pain and the healing in his quiet confession. The spaces between words hold the weight of 1,000 broken promises. Love's call is sometimes the only light in a room full of shadows. He spoke of you like a secret he'd carry to his grave. You were the wound and the salve he never learned to apply. Blood is not just thicker than water, it's heavier than silence. Every call is a chance to rewrite a story written in tears. He called because love's silence was too loud to bear alone. The past called last night, wrapped in a father's fragile voice. You live in the spaces where his regrets and hopes collide. Sometimes love is a phone call that breaks open the chest. He tried to speak, but the weight of years tangled his words. A father's love is imperfect but infinite, tangled in broken time. The call was his way of holding you close without touching. You're the scar that shapes his heart's silent rhythm. He called to remind you that love never fully fades, even when forgotten. You are the shadow between his silence and his tears. His voice cracked under the weight of 1,000 lost chances. That call was a whisper from the past trying to catch the present. Even broken love finds a way to call across the distance. You were the question in his voice and the answer in his heart. Fathers carry their children's ghosts longer than their memories. The call was a fragile thread tying two fractured souls. He spoke your name like a prayer, like a plea for peace. Love sometimes calls through broken lines and trembling hearts. The silence after the call screamed louder than words ever could. You were the wound he never wanted to open but needed to heal. His voice was a tremor in the stillness of the night. The call was a confession, a prayer, a fragile hope bundled in sound. Even silence speaks when a father's heart aches for a child. You live in the space between his regrets and his wishes. That call was a bridge built from tears and unspoken love. Fathers carry the weight of their children's absence in every breath. You are the echo of a love that time could not erase. Sometimes love speaks loudest in the quiet between phone rings. He called because some bonds cannot be broken by silence alone. Your name was the light flickering in his darkest night. He spoke softly, but his love roared beneath the fragile calm. A father's heart is both home and battlefield for a lost love. That call held the ghosts of what was and what might have been. Love lingers in the tremble of a father's late night call. You are the ache that sings through the cracks in his voice. Sometimes healing begins with a voice breaking the silence. His call was a prayer, whispered through years of quiet pain. You live in the spaces where love and regret collide endlessly. The call was a fragile thread tying two broken hearts again. If this touched your soul, don't scroll, comment your favorite quote, and subscribe for more. He called because some loves refuse to die, no matter the distance. The weight of his words was the gravity of a father's love. Your name was the prayer he whispered into the night's dark. Silence is the heaviest language in a father's late night call. That call carried a lifetime of love hidden beneath regret's veil. Fathers love imperfectly, but fiercely, even when miles apart. You are the memory that time could never fully erase. Love's true voice is heard in the trembling breath before words. His call was the last light in a room full of shadows. You were the hope woven through his broken promises. Sometimes, love is a phone call that stitches wounds unseen. A father's love speaks loudest when his voice is barely a whisper. That call was a fragile offering, a heart stretched across silence. You live in the pause between his words, heavy with longing. The call was a question asked by a soul desperate for peace. Fathers carry their children's absence deeper than words can reach. You are the echo of a love too deep to forget. Love sometimes calls through shadows, seeking light in the darkness. His voice was the heartbeat of a love that never fully left. The call was a prayer, a confession, and a fragile hope all at once. That call was a flicker of warmth in a heart long chilled by silence. You live in the corners of his mind where shadows meet light. Sometimes a single word can carry the weight of years unspoken. His voice was a soft storm, breaking through the calm of forgotten love. Love's language is spoken most clearly in trembling, broken breaths. The call was a fragile echo of a love that refuses to fade. You are the wound and the healing, intertwined beneath his quiet regret. Fathers love in the spaces between words, in the silences that scream. His call was a bridge built from fragile hope and aching truth. You were the question in his soul that no answer could reach. Sometimes love calls in whispers, hoping the heart still listens. The night carried his voice, heavy with a love never fully lost. You live in the echo of his silence, louder than any word spoken. That call was a silent prayer, reaching across time's cruel distance. Fathers carry their love like scars, hidden but deeply felt. The weight of his words was the gravity pulling him back to you. You are the light in his darkness, the hope in his regret. Love sometimes speaks in silence, louder than any spoken word. His voice trembled like a leaf in a storm, fragile but alive. The call was a confession no heart could fully understand, but all could feel. You live in the stillness after the storm of his words fades. Sometimes healing begins with a single call and a trembling heart. Fathers hold love like a secret, too painful to speak, but too strong to hide. That call was a flicker of truth in the shadows of a broken past. You are the silence that screams between the echoes of his voice. Love is a thread that ties fractured hearts across time and space. His voice was a fragile flame in the cold night of regret. The call was a dance of shadows, love, and unspoken apologies. You live in the spaces where his love and loss intertwine endlessly. Sometimes love calls through the cracks of broken promises and fading hope. Fathers love in the quiet, where no eyes can see the pain. That call was a gentle storm breaking the dam of silent years. You are the ache beneath his words, the love behind his silence. His voice was the last thread holding together the fabric of lost love. The call carried the weight of a lifetime's worth of unsaid love. Love's echo lingers longest in the spaces between father and child. You live in the heartbeat of a voice trembling with regret and hope. Sometimes a call is all that remains to mend a shattered soul. Fathers carry love like a wound, painful but impossible to forget. That call was a whisper of light in a room darkened by years. You are the ghost of love haunting the corridors of his heart. His voice was a soft rain washing away the dust of forgotten love. The call was a fragile bridge spanning the gulf of years lost. Love sometimes speaks through trembling hands and broken words. You live in the silence that follows a father's broken confession. Sometimes healing begins with a voice breaking the wall of silence. Fathers hold their children's love like a sacred flame, flickering but eternal. That call was a fragile hope wrapped in the ache of regret. You are the shadow clinging to the light of his fading love.